Hello guys, welcome back. Yet another continuation. So for this one, we want to look at page events and client events. So the client events are basically JavaScript and the page events are PHP. So we want to look at page events, and this is what we want to achieve. I want anytime I click here and maybe I click on M-Pesa here, I want this field to be visible. So anytime that this is not M-Pesa, I want this field to be hidden. So let's go ahead and maybe try doing this first. So you can always do it in the console. So you can come here and inspect this. So we want to do it in the console first, so that whenever we post it in PHP, PHP would be sure about what we are doing. So we want to go ahead and get this field. So inside our code, we want to check. So it's called user email. So we want to hide the user email based on the data that we want. So we're going to be using jQuery to hide that data. So I'm going to come here and write this code here, which is basically going to be, we're going to be using the control, which is ctrl user email. So every time you create a field inside PHP, it comes here and hides itself like this and appears like this. So that is hidden. We also need to hide the label for. So you also need to come here and say, okay, we're going to come here and say label. All right, you're going to say for is equals to user email. Okay, and then we're going to close this and close this here also, and I'm going to say dot hide like that. So we want to also hide the label for this. So there seems to be an issue here. Let me check what the error is. Syntax error. Alright, let me check. Alright, so let's check. Let's see what there. Alright, so here's the issue. So this is not supposed to be there, but here. Alright, so we can see even the label is hidden. So we want to use that code to display there. So let's first take this first one. Let's go to our client events. So the client event is basically going to be inside our mode of payment. So we want, when our mode of payment is clicked, then you want to hide that or display that. So we're going to come here to our page event and go to our mode of payment. And let's go to where we have client events down here. I want to on change. So anytime anything changes on this mode of payment field, we want to have this hidden here. So basically we want this to be outside of this function first. So by default it's going to be hidden. I'm going to put it outside here. And also the label for the one we just created at the bottom here also needs to be hidden outside here. So we're going to come here and do an if statement. So we're going to say if. Okay, so we're going to take this. Sorry, the very first one we need to do, we need this also. Copy this and replace with one of it over here. All right, so we're going to come here and say if this. Okay, let's say if this, but not really all of it. So I'm going to come here and say if is equals to M-Pesa, something like that. If this, go to M-Pesa, then we want to now run some code here. So we now want to go ahead and take this from here and change from .hide to .show. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if this code is going to be working. Alright, even before we go ahead, I think there's an error that something that I omitted here. Let's go ahead and check this out. So it's going to be here. Here and say this is equals to M-Pesa. Not only email, but mode of payment. Mode of payment, like that. So let's check what we get. So let's go to our deliveries page here, and let's see what we get. Alright, so by default this field is hidden, so let's see. So get apparently it's not showing, but let me check it out. Alright, so I just did a test and I realized there was an error that we're making. So there's something we didn't really change after we copied. So this label 4, we didn't really remember to remove this. Yeah. And put it there. Also, we don't really remember to change this and put it here. So we also needed to add this .val here, which is .value. So we wanted to add that and check if this is equals to M-Pesa. So also had done some console there to check if this was correct. So let's try and publish this. So if we come back and display this code here, so it by default the email is hidden. So if you come here and click on M-Pesa, the email just pops out like we expected. So that's generally what we wanted to do for that one. So if we change this and is in cache, so we should also be able to change that. So you can always listen for a click event with that. So let me see. Alright, so this is working on a non-change, so we'll check that for reasons of end of the video. Alright, so we're back. I did some testing and I realized for this code to work, if I come here and click on cache, see now it's being hidden. If I go back to M-Pesa, it's displaying. We needed more than one function. So I went back here and already have declared these variables. So they are already hidden. So we have done a non-input. So instead of change, we changed from change to an input function. So this is checking if control method is equals to M-Pesa, then you want to show this. Then we went down here and said on change, when this changes, you also want to check if the value is still equal to M-Pesa, then we still show this. So this is working when we are doing something like this. Let me show you. It's working when you are doing something like this. Let me show you so that you can understand what we mean. Whenever you click on a cache there and we click on M-Pesa again, then you go here, click cache, and you come back. So that is the on change effect. So that is what we are checking. If you're checking if now again it's equals to M-Pesa, we want to show again. But then we have another one which is now the on change function, which is checking if mode of payment is not equals to M-Pesa. If it's not equals to M-Pesa, then we go ahead and hide this again. So that's what you're going to do. So always remember to save your work. So that is it. Now with this code being like this, we can also be able to like systematically do some works for us. So if we now need to go to our ad page. Remember now the email is not compulsory, so required has to be false. So we can have a payment without an email being needed. So that will be it. Now in the next video guys, we're going to be looking at the page event. Now see you in the next one.